begin recording. We are a little bit late, but nevertheless, we're going to give Ariel full amount of time, the amount that he deserves. Thank you, everybody, for being here at Selihot. I'm happy to report they're very close to having 400 people registered. So this is really an amazing number. I have said to you that these Selihot sessions were dedicated to my rabbi, mentor, and teacher, Rabbi Mordechai Edrei. And what an amazing opportunity we had tonight to hear from my dear friend, Ariel Ederi, who's also a Rab, and he has many beautiful things to impart for us. I will then just very quickly tell you who he is. Ariel received, well, he learned some guitar from me back in 1977. He says that didn't know the year.
3 lessons.
Yeah, learned the beauty of Piyyut by singing them at his father's, of course, Rabbi Mordechai Edrei. Graduated from Hebrew University in Jerusalem, an ordained rabbi at Hebrew Union College. Served in communities in Argentina, Mexico, Spain, Barcelona in particular, and now in North Carolina. While serving Beth Shalom congregation for 16 years, he also teaches rabbinic students at the new Reformed Rabbinic School for Latin America. He's active in community organizing for social justice and enjoys Jewish music and poetry in his free time. And one more time, what an enormous privilege of having Ariel with us. Ha-aderet, vehaemunah is the Piyyut that he's going to be teaching. I'm going to make sure that you have the full spectrum here. Ariel, I do have Ha-aderet, vehaemunah when you want it, if you want me to share it for you. If you want to do that yourself, let me see if I can make you a co-host. To do that.
Yeah, that'll be great if I can share it.
Yes, of course. So I'll do that and go to look for you. But since I am not the one that actually entered this, so our Rabbi Gila Langner needs to make me something like a host, so I can then do that for you.
It's okay. It's already taken care of. We're all set.
Thank you so much.
We're all set? Yeah, I can share.
Hazak ve'ematz.
Okay. Well, before I share this, I want to say thank you, Ramon, so much for not only for the invitation to be here, but as I told you before, for my dad, I'm sure the greatest gift for him would be that 10 years plus after he's dead, you know, somebody still remembering him and remember him for teaching and gathering together to do something like this, which was what he loved to do in his life. So thank you. That's a great gift. So I want to share a little bit of this poem we're going to read. And well, I'm sharing the screen. Don't start reading yet, and because sometimes you start reading and not listen anymore now because you have the text. So here is the text we're going to be looking at and singing and chanting. A couple things to say about this. This is one of the, as you know, thousands of medieval piyutim, this beautiful Hebrew poetry and song composed for, in general, for Shabbat, for the synagogue, this one for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur. This Piyyut has been used in different ways in some traditions. Both Sephardic and Ashkenazi is used sometimes in the morning Shacharit prayers, sometimes it's used in different times. This is written by Meshulam ben Kalonymous. He's a guy from a family of poets. His father, Kalonymous, also is author of some other famous piyutim. around the year 1000, northern Italy, maybe southern Germany today. And the basic structure of a piyyut, and this is important, a piyyut is not meant to be sung by one person alone. A piyyut is for somebody to sing and get the congregation engaged, and then we sing and get the congregation engaged, and it's this give and take, this call and response, but it's basically a leader that is you know, gathering the congregation to follow along. So I'll do some singing today, and sadly I cannot have the congregation singing along with me, because then on Zoom it will be terrible, but feel free to sing along at home, because that's how this should be done. Okay, and I have two things to say about this piyyut. First is the form of the piyyut. The form, as you see, is two words like Ha-aderet, vehaemunah, and then the refrain, lechai olamim. Two other words, lechai olamim. Lechai olamim repeats. If I had to put a title to this piyyut, it will be lechai olamim. Right? What does that mean, lechai olamim? And it has been translated in different ways. One is to the life of the worlds. The word olam in Hebrew means world, but also means eternity, means not so much space, but time. So Chai Olamim may be the endless life. That's what Chai, to that lives endlessly. So it's a great expression. I don't know exactly what it means, but that's the beauty of poetry, that we can imagine and interpret what it means. Chai Olamim, that lives forever, endless life. Right? So I like this poem just because of that. And another thing to note before I'll start singing a little bit is that this poem is composed in typical acrostic, which is Aleph, Bet. If you see, the first line is two words that begin with Aleph, the second one, two words with Bet, then two words with Gimel, right? Preceded by Ha, that, right? But this is how we go. So we're gonna go from Aleph to Taf, the full alphabet of praise, right? Repeating each word. This poem was composed specifically as an introduction to the tefillah, meaning the introduction to the Amidah. As you know, in our tefillah, we have lots of different parts and poems and songs and verses of Bible, but at one point, we stand, that's the Amidah, and we face the east, and if you're in a synagogue, you face the Aron HaKodesh, and now we're standing before God, right? Like many synagogues will say, know before whom you stand, right? So how are we suddenly to get up and say, all right, I'm standing before God now. You know, what do I do? How I get to this moment? So this poem is a way of using music and poetry to prepare us. So how are we going to rise and stand before God now in our prayers? And what does that even mean? Okay, so that's how I like to look at this poem. So the melody is apparently Yemenite melody for that. And if you feel like singing, you will see it's not very hard. I'll feel very good if I see you, at least if I don't hear you, so I feel like I'm singing with the congregation, which is great. Goes like this. Ha-aderet vehaemunah lechai olamim, habina vehabracha lechai olamim, הגבה והגדולה לחיי עולמים, הדעה והדיבור לחיי עולמים. And now let's join. לחי, לחי, לחי עולמים, לחי, לחי, לחי עולמים. ההוד והדר לחי עולמים, Avad ve'avat tikud lechai olamim. Hazach ve'hazohar lechai olamim. Ha'chayil ve'achosen lechai olamim. Lechai, lechai, lechai olamim. Lechai, lechai, lechai olamim. So let me pause here, and now let's talk about what are we saying. Okay, now that we got the music. Sometimes we may not even know what we're saying, and the Piyyut still works because the music carries us, right? That's the beauty of music, it becomes like a mantra. But I think it becomes way more beautiful when we actually know what we're saying and can add that dimension. So I wanted to show you a picture you might have seen before. So hopefully you can see it. I stole this from Carl Sagan. It's called The Cosmic Calendar. And to make it quickly, Carl Sagan once, and I don't know if he invented this, tried to explain the incredible universe in which we live, 13.8 billion years. How can a mind even understand what that is? So what he found out is this is a good way of understanding the life of this universe. Let's take all the life of this universe, the 13.8 billion years, and represent them in one calendar from January 1st to December 31st. 12 months for the life of the universe. And what you find is what? Universe started January 1st, a big bang. In September only, if you see on the top line, finally the solar system came alive. Only in September of that year. I'll bring you there, but life, as we know it, began when? In October. First cells in November. Multicellular life in December. And look what happened. We have now on the second line, already in December of the life of the world. And only then, on the 22nd of December, we have amphibians. And then reptiles. Dinosaurs, when do they appear? December 25th, right, for Christmas. 1 week before the end of the world. And only then is dinosaurs appear. Mammals, December 26th. Let's skip forward. The final day. In the whole life of the universe, we humans have not even appeared yet. And it's December 31st already. And in the morning, there's still primates evolving. And basically, the human brain, the modern human, appears somewhere around noon, 11:52 on December 31st. And then migration, all prehistory. You know when ancient Egypt happens? 30 seconds before the year is over. And you know when, let's go, what else we see here? When was Jesus born? 4.5 seconds ago. And then where are we now? Well, a tiny little speck, aren't we? So to me, this is the beauty. So I read the poem and I see this, I visualize this. What am I talking about? I'm trying to contemplate in my mind the life of this world. What is life in this world, the universe in which I live? And my universe can be very small. It's my house, my New York Times, and the news of today. Let's remember where we are. Let's remember what role we play, what space, what time we occupy in the life of this world, which is so overwhelming and we're so tiny, literally, in it. So having this in mind, I think that's what I get without the pictures, but through the words. Lechai olamim, in the life of this universe. What do we see in this life on this universe? Well, we see everything, the splendor, the strength, the awe, the purity, the radiance, and you see all these different words that are there. But let's sing a little more, and then I make some more comments, and we'll finish singing. Because I want to sing the whole poem today. So we are there. Tet, right? Ateches. Ateches ve'atohar lechai olamim, ha'yichud ve'ha'yira lechai olamim, ha'keter ve'ha'kavod lechai olamim, ha'halekach ve'alivud lechai olamim. Join me. Lechai, lechai, lechai olamim. Lechai, lechai, lechai olamim. המלוכה והממשלה לחי עולמים, ההנוי והנצח לחי עולמים, הסיגוי והשגב לחי עולמים, העוז והענווה לחי עולמים. And before we continue and finish this, so I wanted to point particularly some of the words. So here are the words in English. Hard to translate all these words, so I did my best and I look at other translations and how to translate Chei Olamim. I don't know, life of the worlds, life endless. To me, that picture of everything we know in this universe, that's Chei Olamim. And the interesting thing is, so of course we can use words like glory and majesty and purity and radiance when we speak of something so grandiose. But I like that in this poem, we're reminded of a few other things. Unity. All this amazing universe is one, right? Started with one big bang out of one little thing. This universe is still united. This is what Yichud, right? Believing in one God means. There's a unity that connects all of us. Insight and affection. Where do insight and affection come from? Well, they come from this life. We receive it. Insight and affection evolved from those very primates, and even before the primates, right? Insight and affection is not a modern human invention, right? This is also part of the gifts that we receive through this endless life and this endless world. Beauty and righteousness. Where do we learn righteousness? Where do we even get a sense, which I think we all have, a sense of right and wrong, a sense of duty, of moral? As it says here at the very bottom, the call and the holiness. We get the call. Where did Carl Sagan get the call to try to do everything to preserve this universe? I get it from Torah, I get it from different places. We all get it from some source of life that calls all of us, right? Brings all of us to holiness, shows us and allow all of us to appreciate beauty. Right? It's a basic quality of life that we can appreciate beauty. And we appreciate song and sublimity and perdurance and loftiness. So this is what I love, that we don't need to look for something beyond our world. We don't need to look to some magical heaven. You want to see all these amazing things in the world? Just look at the world. Just contemplate the world in which we live. And I like particularly this because on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, particularly, when you look, many of our prayers speak of basically, there's a throne in heaven, there's a king there, is God, who is a he, has a long beard, is sitting on judgment, and is passing judgment on each one of us and deciding we're gonna live, we're gonna die, who by fire, who by water. That's an image that doesn't necessarily, you know, inspire me the most. Yes. And I find that often I am at prayers, or I see traditional prayers, and I end up having to do this instant translation in my mind, right? I read a text, God, He, Supreme Lord of Forgiveness, and I need to translate that in concepts that work for me. What are we talking about, right? And I like this poem because this poem doesn't make me have to translate. This poem already talks to me. This poem already lets me understand what is it that I'm standing in front of. When I'm standing for the Amidah, what am I standing in front of? I'm standing in front of this, the awe, the splendor, the unity, the majesty, the glory, the call, the beauty, the humility, the power, all of those things that I see in this universe if I only take some time and pay attention. So to me, this is a beautiful poem, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. I have to admit, with Ramon, we were discussing very much because my dad, being from Morocco, loved particularly Moroccan and Sephardic tradition, and I love it too. Many of those poems are beautiful, but I wanted particularly, since we're right before Rosh Hashanah, and hopefully share with you what inspires me particularly and is helping me know what am I in present of, what am I standing in front of when I stand up for the Amidah. And so let's end this poem. It's a beautiful poem. We're gonna have, let's do the last section here. And as you see, since this was meant as an introduction to the Amidah, I'm going to conclude this poem by adding the first line, not really of the Amidah, but is this verse from Tehillim that we usually kind of say quietly to prepare for the Amidah. So we're going to do all of that together. So we're on haPiyyut. haPiyyut vehape'er lehayolamim הצבי והצדק להיוламים, הקריאה והקדושה להיוламים, הארון והרוממות להיוламים, השיר והשבח להיוламים, התהילה והתפארת להיוламים. One last time. להי, להי, להיוламים. להי, להי, להיוламים. Adonai שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. And now we stand. Where is Ramon?
Yashikoah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Shakar. Absolutely beautiful.
It's mitzvot. What a beautiful introduction to Rosh Hashanah. It could not be any better. I want to say, if you allow me to, when
Please.
When Ariel talks about what he receives from Torah, everybody needs to know that Ariel was, 7 years old, perhaps, when he was already reading, was one of the greatest ballet kriya that I have heard in my life. And
I was standing in a box so I could reach the bima to read from Torah, but the first time I read, I really didn't read. I memorized the whole text and pretended to read. It was on Simchat Torah. Yes, I was probably 6 years old.
You see. And that's also a sign of anava, of signs of humility as well. So anyway, it's to bring us to this place. I mean, there are already people in the chat saying beautiful things as you deserve. To not only to bring us to Rosh Hashanah, but also to bring lezecher abicha, right? In honor of your father, who had such a beautiful look to life and to Yahadut, to Judaism. So it's a true honor to have you with us. May it be the first time of many that we would have an opportunity to be together. There's something that is also true is that as we are separated by so much because of coronavirus, I want to remind every one of us that we also have the opportunity to be able to connect in this magnificent way. May it be the time when we actually can embrace again and get all the way to North Carolina to listen to your tefillah and to drashot and to feel personally what the amazing things that you have to offer us. And I want to remind everybody that tomorrow, September 15th, we are going to be sharing with you Ki Adam Etz Hasadeh, a poem by Natan Zach, and music by Shalom Chanoch. It will be actually taught by our Rowan Pitlock, who is going to be teaching about trees and the connection to humans. I don't know, Ariel, if it was in the 23rd second when that happened, or the 25th millisecond, but there is a deep connection. We are all suffering the global warming, and California, we want to send our brethren and sisters in California and in the whole West Coast that are suffering so much, the burning of those trees. So that's what we have tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I want to now say to all of you what I always say when we end. Laila Tov. May you have a good evening. I know I will have an amazing end of this evening trying to think of Chaya Olamim and all these wonderful things. So,
thank you so much.
Yes.
Such a beautiful offering. So much.
Fantastic.
Night, everyone. Shana Tova.
Laila
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Thank you for joining us.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Good.
Good night.